could be another. Well, Entity 7, I mean, 5 eliminations so far. Not a bad game for them. Very, very spread out. They have the numbers of everyone else. They're the only team right now with a 4-man. Everybody else is rocking a duo.
Yeah.
But I would not count Rules of War out, especially with how Aragod has been playing.
Yeah, and also the position. I think they have a small little corner of their compound, of the wall, that they can play from. It's not going to be a pretty central spot, but it could be impactful, especially as Entity 7 are so focused on SLR. And look at this slow creep, crawl forward, knows where Koi is. I don't know if that was a bit too premature, but the grenade's going to go out.
Jumping nade, not able. Point Alpha, or I'm sorry, E7, right, on the move. They're going to be spreading their players out.
Advantage, but the cover that is being abused by Royals of War, Cold Code is and start to become more impactful as Royals of War need to leave their compound in order to have some semblance of solid positioning. They can't just wait for phase 8.
You gotta watch. Kogo needs to watch out. Yeah, he's gonna watch out for that rock there because his legs are gonna be exposed here at this point. But he does have a little bit of that hill to help give him a little bit of coverage. But I would not count out Rules of War just yet. Even though Entity 7, they have the man advantage, they have the terrain advantage as well. But the way Rules of War are shooting, they're looking pretty good. Entity 7 need to just close this game, though.
And, I mean, their positioning should. It really is just, it's just going to come down to how effectively Royals of War can get the knocks when the opportunities present itself. Colgoat being pitted forward under the rock is a good start.
Don't count out Entity 7. Cameron, because you know what? They're in a big battle themselves. You know what that battle is, Cameron?
What?
It's the battle for not last place.
That's an important one.
It is. It is.
R-O-W, bro?
If they're going to be able to lift themselves out of that position. I mean, 6 eliminations, top 2 finish already is great for them. But man, I'll tell you what, Rolls of War, Aragod with 8. That is 8.
So, here's the thing for E7. Both members of Royals of War are focused on that southwest player, Francois. And he has a nice angle, and he's not over peak in that spot. But once the blue comes in, he's going to be pushed out in the open.
That's right.
And if he gets instantaneously lit up without any response available by his teammates, that is the opening that I think Royals of War are going to be waiting on and playing for.
I think it's all up to Hate here. I think Hate has to make a push to that tree on the left side. And the play zone catches him! So he just goes out to zone. And Colgoat actually gets the finish. Aragod peeks out. Hate immediately peeks back. It's a 2v2. Oh, beautiful headshot, though, from Hate. And it couldn't have been at a better time.
Not at all. And even things up. That rock is doing a great job defending Colgoat.
Well, we've now reached stage 9, folks. This zone is going to go down into absolutely nothing. If Colgoat was able to get that nade, it'd be huge. But now Deblim is there. Oh, he might be blind. He is blind. And a nade is on his way. Oh, just short.
And look at Hate flanking around, flanking from the backside. He's completely undetected, but suddenly Colgoat's going to spot it out. Realizes that he's been surrounded.
Does he have the nade? He does it. Oh, 1v1. He's got it.
Oh,
and he gets taken out. Entity 7 gonna win the first game of the day. I mean, we didn't even talk about this squad at the start, but a great performance from them. But you got to give it up to Rolls of War as well, because they're the ones that have the most to lose at this time, and they really put in work to start things off here, Cameron.
Absolutely, they made Entity 7 really have to work for their win there. It got so close at the end, and I do think Royals of War got the most points of the round, regardless of not confirming the chicken dinner. But the what's the word? There's a word for it. Like the emotional battle of getting that the moral victory of getting the chicken dinner is also just going to help E7's mental as they head into the rest of today and this whole week.
Yeah, great game, man. An exciting game to start the day off with. You know, funny enough, both E7 and Royals of War had not received a win and had not earned a win, both of them since day number 6. So it was kind of like, who's going to win and who's going to, you know, end that dry spell? Well, obviously it was E7, and good on them for doing so. You know, Hachu the longest time, and going into, I believe, Zone 6, there was only 2 teams who had 3 or 4 members respectively. E7 was one of them, and then the other one was SLR. So SLR actually had 4. E7, I believe, was hovering around 3 for the long, or no, E7 had 4, and then SLR had 3. So they had the biggest leap. I was like, all right, these two are going to be the number 1 and number 2. But SLR ended up dropping off. E7, though, kept their members up to the very end. And what I liked about them is they covered a majority of that, kind of spread out right to get multiple angles, kind of triangulate their opponents. And it ended up working out in the end, although you got to give credit to Royals of War for that final battle.
Oh, yeah, you have to for sure. I will say this. I would have liked to see Entity 7 just pop off afterwards and say, you guys are trash. You know? Y'all better fear us, baby. We're coming back. And honestly, I will say this. With Entity 7 starting out so strong, they could be one of the most feared teams in here. And the reason why is because they have nothing to lose, right?
True.
So if they wanted to, they could hot drop on your squad and just say, nah, we're not going to let you qualify, right? So still, right, even though you are, you know, they're down on the leaderboards, I wouldn't want to bully them for sure.
You know, Cameron, I view teams like E7 as the boogeymen, okay? They're the Grim Reapers. They're the ones that can dictate whether you get top 4 or not.
Yeah, and again, just as Jukes was saying, going towards the end of a tournament, when the teams get more established on their position in the leaderboard, and when what they're have opportunities to get gets narrower and narrower, you will start to see them make decisions based off of that. Because when there's a team that you have the opportunity of actually sort of overtaking their position on the leaderboard, you're more likely to go aggressive into their spot. When those positions aren't available, who knows what they're going to do in the meantime? They could just go off of vibes at that point.
Hey, Taylor, real quick. Real quick. Could you imagine if N-Hyper was in the race for top 3? Right?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would have been insane. Oh my god, that would have been great.
Dude, any team in the running for NA would be like, whoa, that would have been incredible. And honestly, big moves from North America if that were to happen. But we got N-Hyper still up in there, right? NRG Galaxy most improved. We're okay. We're doing all right. Let's start, though, at the beginning, and it was actually Zone 3 is where I want to start, and Hotchix will go to you. I want to talk about that battle between B-Bold and Team Liquid. You know, Cardozo was looking like the boogeyman of Team Liquid, but he kind of had to be that boogeyman given the fact that he was the only one alive at the time, but B-Bold was also giving it the TL, too.
I mean, if you're B-Bold, if you're their coach, or, you know, that's one where you know what I'm saying? You're like, what is happening here? Because I mean, I noticed mistakes before that even happened, right? I saw Reyes pushing into buildings by himself, and I was like, if Cardozo was in one of those buildings with that DBS, you could easily get knocked and thirsted, and now you're down a player, right?
Yeah.
But then something worse happened, right? You see the player knock, Cardozo just takes full advantage of it. It's mistakes like that, I mean, that one play alone could be the difference between them making it in the top 3 or not.
True. Well, they do decently well. 4 eliminations, 8th place, so they get placement points. They also get their 4 elims. B-Bold, the team that's trying to rise up the ranks, I believe, on the lower ends. But, you know, Cameron, let's give credit, though, to obviously, Royals of War. Royals of War looking great, getting a massive win against Alpha 7, knocking them out in 14th place. Through their good effort, and also Eric got absolutely popping off, finishing with a total of 8 eliminations. They finish in 2nd place, and you called it. They get more they get more points over E7 despite not getting the winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, and we didn't actually see it, but remember, one of the team wipes that they got, Royals of War, was against Alpha 7. And even though they did arguably have a better position, because Alpha 7 was the team on the sweep, and Royals of War were sort of defending their spot, even though with the blue coming in, they weren't going to be there for too long. Regardless, they still were able to win a fight against one of the top dogs. So, absolutely, they are making a big statement here. The big question is, can they continue that run?
That's a big question, right? Royals of War, they've got a big come-up potential, and they need to come up today. You talked about it, right, Hotchix, in the pre-show. It's like Royals of War is a team that can absolutely make it in the top 4, but given the fact that they were a little bit lower, sitting in 8th place, they were one of those teams that had a better chance than AGG and B-Bold, but, you know, they had the best chance, and I think they're making the most of it. This was such a big game for them. Do they move up the leaderboard?
Yeah, they're not gonna, because they have a big gap to cross, right?
Sure.
But that's how you cross it, right? We needed to see crazy games from them today. They could close that gap, and then they could easily surpass Death Wolves if they do great on their double points day. So they're doing what they need to do. There's still 5 matches left to go, though, right? They can't let off the gas. And I'll say that
I think was so implemental in that final zone, putting up such a tremendous fight. Loved what they were doing. Royals of War, a standout team in game number 1. We look at the second page, Cameron. The only moving that we have is SLR will move up, and that's because they do get 3rd place with 3 eliminations. Outside of that, though, no moving around. Be bold. AGG still looking to break in the top 8.
Yeah, definitely need to. And I'll tell you what, Cameron, right? Be bold. Making a mistake like that with how many points they need to cross, that hurts.
It does, and I don't even know how that can happen. But I do want to give a little bit of extra love to Entity 7. They got the chicken dinner. They didn't get as many kills, eliminations as Royals of War did. But the fact that we saw them constantly moving around that end game, they weren't scared, and which you could easily see for a 16th place team. They weren't scared and like all huddled in a corner. They were really trying to go for the full win.
And what I appreciate about Be Bold, despite them taking that early L against Team Liquid, they still had 2 members
What's
up,
up,
giving
boys?
them revive. You called it out, Cameron, a little bit earlier into the game. And they do finish decently well from what they could have finished off with if Team Liquid would have been able to, sink their teeth into all of them. Although you got to give credit over towards Team Liquid Cardozo. I mean, he definitely tried picking up 3, or at least nearly picking up 3. Well, that's game number 1. Arigel finished. A wonderful game coming out from E7. Obviously, Royals of War, they get the most points with their 2nd place. We'll see if they continue that movement up the leaderboard. 30 points still to catch number 7, but hey, anything is possible during the final week. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, map number 2, Miramar, coming your way.
Hello, everyone. The all-new 2024 PUBG Mobile Super League event, PMSL.
Bro, I'm gonna change that screen. Oh my gosh, it looks terrible. Let's I'm about to watch these, see if I can get better at the game, bro. As a trashies. Yo, Vito, you want to go to PMSL one day, bro? And choke a 1v1. That would be like the best. Best thing to do. You get some hype on your name. Just choke a 1v1, bro. What I mean? Like the stream noobs. Brush your teeth today. You brush your teeth today? Yeah, bro. Yeah. Actually. you picked up the rag and some soap. Damn, bro. I know I don't participate in those activities. I know I don't participate in those activities. I do not understand your text, bro. It's not English.
And welcome back, everybody, to the 2024 PUBG Mobile Super League America Spring Season, day number 11. I'm Taylor Reflection, so we're joined by Hot Jukes and Cameron Davis. Game number 1 is done with, and what a game it was for E7 and Royals of War. When we talk about the standings, for those who might just be tuning in and just joining up, right, there is a massive battle that's taking place for 3rd and 4th. 1st and 2nd, as you should know, Alpha 7, Team Liquid, they locked that in. Team Liquid currently in first place.
Take your time and read, bro. Don't try me, bro. I'm just trolling, bro.
When we talk about the standings and we talk about the teams trying to come
I'm just trolling, bro.
Oh man,
just chill,
we're
bro.
obviously looking at 3rd place all the way down to 7th, right? They're the ones that have the best.
I actually don't know how to read that
secure
shit.
that last slot that gives you that golden ticket to the group stage, right? 1st to 3rd, get there. We know who's 1st and 2nd, right? It's gonna be one of those 2 teams, but 3rd is still up for grabs. 4th as well gets you to the survival stage, but you don't want to go there unless you have no choice. But going on down, right? Royals of War 8th place down to 10th. They still have a chance, right? Realistically, with double points, but they have to have ridiculous games at the start. And one team that did it out of those 3 is Royals of War, especially in this last match.
Absolutely, Royals of War, Cameron, right? That game was so big, not
Nah,
because
bro, I was
it's the
trolling,
first
bro.
win since day
Trust.
number 6, but because they're in 8th place and
Team Liquid,
outside of 9th and 10th, who still
first
have
place.
a chance, right? But need to step it up from this point forward. Royals of War is a team assist, at least when it comes to the front page and to potentially breaking it, or the furthest, I should say, to breaking
ROW,
into so that game number 1 was instrumental to the moving up.
Did when I tournament I was playing, I don't.
Performance there.
Yes.
So definitely, you have to assume that
Pretty
the other
sure.
members of that team were there in support elements. They were playing what we call pack play, which is when like all 4 players basically stay together and just spin through team fights one after another. And so they're all next to each other. But Airgod was like the tip of the spear, the one dealing most of the damage, getting most of those eliminations.
What does
acting until the
PMSL
very,
stand
very
for?
end. If he can keep up that performance and the
Plain,
best team continue to back him up, I am excited
succulently,
to see how, if Royals of War, how long
maliciously
it takes them to really break over Queso in 7th
leaking.
place, and how high they can get even on this first day, and that's before bonus points become a factor.
Yeah, well, that's what excites me. You know, I think today is the big day to try and close that gap as much as possible. Bonus points is going to happen for every single team, all 16 of them, right? But today is the day where everybody's on an even playing field, and you have a chance to even up that gap a little bit more. And if you can do so, just maybe even move above your competition, or at least have it as close as possible, it's going to make the double points day, whether it be for you, even better, or if you don't have your opponents do, it's going to soften that blow a little bit, Hot Juke. So I think today is incredibly important to do the best you can. I think every day is important, obviously, but today, just that even
Bro's
play field
camera
makes
is
it
so
even more
nice.
For sure. I mean, you have to
5K
make
camera,
sure that you
bro.
were just warmed up and ready to go. You have to believe in yourself. And a lot of these teams, I think, struggle with that, you know. And today is that opportunity, right? Because it's even playing field for everybody. You want to be able to pop off, right? Be bold. Seeing them make such a
Vito, one day you
simple
should be a
mistake and getting
PUBG
crushed for it,
commentator,
it's gonna
bro.
hurt, right? I want to see them bounce back, though, right? It's not like it's impossible. It's going to be hard, though, after a game like that. Royals of War did exactly what they needed to do today, as opposed to all the other teams in 3rd on down. They just shredded everybody at the start. They have a lot of points. They still have a big gap to cross, right?
Right.
But now that gap may not look as large to them now that they had at least one good game under their belts.
I think what hurts though about Be Bold so much is that they still are in the conversation of breaking it into you know, the top 4, but they're also the furthest away in 10th place for the realistic teams to potentially move on up. And the fact that they get punished that hard, I'm good about. But it's something that they're gonna have to deal with, and recovery is key. The top competitors should know how to recover well. And speaking of which, Cameron, going into Miramar Game 2, what team needs the biggest recovery?
I mean, it's got to be Be Bold, or it's got to be Influence
Sure.
Rage. It's got to be any of these teams that we're talking about trying to really face off against Alpha 7 and Team Liquid. The lucky thing is that we play so many games throughout this entire event. One round won't define you. It's how you're able to bounce back.
That's right. Well, here it is. Game number 2 about to get started. We're hopping into Miramar. So excited to see if Royals of War can keep that energy up, or will Alpha 7 look for some revenge, right? Given the fact that Royals of War wiped them clean off the map. They look to come in even stronger this time around.
One day
alongside
I will
that of
brush my
E7.
teeth.
Can they go back to back? We'll find out all that and more as map number 2 gets underway. Hot Chips, Cameron Davis, take it away.
Let's get it going here. Match number
One
2.
day
We're
you
going to
should
head
pick up a
into
rap, bro.
Miramar here. And we're going to see how this goes. Playing just south of El Full, so that's going to be a good drop for Alpha 7. And, you know, one thing in particular, Cameron, I think that especially teams like, you know, pretty much 3rd place all the way down to 10th, they should take advantage of the day at another level. Because in my eyes, I think Alpha 7 and Team Liquid are still just kind of having fun with this. You know, I think they're absolutely trying their heart out, but I think they're more focused on like fixing problems and making adjustments, getting ready for the next stage. You know, in the latter days of this tournament, when it comes down to really who's going to get 1st and 2nd, I think that's where we're going to really see Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, you know, go back to the main strategies that work and go all out. So if you have any
Wait,
chance
Mito, do you
right
see
now
a
to put points
question
the board,
on the
I think it's
stream?
right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of
Like
just
when you
chilling on
joined, did
top.
you see like a question?
It's we saw a little bit of that with Team Liquid being a little free and loose with their approach around that Stalber area. Granted, they picked up an initial kill elimination onto Influence Rage.
Free
doing
and
so,
loose.
but it just speaks to the fact
Hey,
that at the
yo.
top they're feeling virtually untouchable unless it's Alpha 7 on the opposite side of things. And so that we could see that give some opportunities to the teams on the chase, have more options, more opportunities for scoring there, where the teams that are usually like trying to soak up all of those points, be those point sponges, kind of giving up that pressure just a little bit.
For sure, for sure. I mean, Southern Circle, and I mean nice in a very sarcastic way. This is a
I would put on my
the
face
worst zone
cam, but
for
it's
Miramar,
very
I think, for a lot
potato.
of these teams having to go down south, the terrain's just that much more brutal. But it
Yeah.
does open up the, you know, an opportunity for some of these squads that are kind of nomads in Miramar. They could just get some vehicles, head down south, loot for free, and, you know, set themselves up early.
Right. And I was looking through the numbers a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, I believe outside of the top 2 teams, All Glory Gaming actually is one of the better performers on Miramar. So if there is a team that should be looking to try and sort of squeeze every last drop out of this specific, that's definitely one of them, because they're going to be in the mix. They're in 9th place, just below Royals of War, or at least they were just below before the 19-point grab that we saw in the previous round. But still, they could easily bounce back themselves and make sure the Royals of War can't separate themselves from them too quickly.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be the week where we see, or at least I hope we see, Cameron, right? Some different strategies come out, because I think teams need to really be realistic here. Like, just playing this game as is for a lot of these squads isn't going to get you into 3rd place, you know? I think that a lot of these teams need to perform well, especially on their double points day, and then look to start hunting down and maybe even hamstringing some of their squad, other teams on their double points day, you know? So
Right.
I want to see that. We haven't really seen teams, I think, adjust strategies apart from Death Wolves, right? Because Fudia had their double points day last week, Cameron, and Death Wolves on Sandhawk went up to that north eastern island that Fudia goes to, since the zone went there, and they actually took them out early on. So that's the only time so far we've seen those adjustments. I hope we see some here this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing, this double points activation. I haven't seen it used before on mobile. Maybe it has somewhere else that I've just
Bro,
missed
there's
it,
so
but it is a
much
new
rain.
thing. And
It's not even
our
fun.
job is to kind of just sit and watch, and so we tend to theory craft a lot more. But when you're actually in the server, it's understandable, and it's usually the case that teams just kind of focus on what's worked for them in the past. And so it takes a while for any sort of actual meta adjustments, strategic adjustments, especially when it comes to the sort of overall leaderboard game. Because, you know, there's the game in the server itself, and then there's the game of what the leaderboard means, and the reactions, and great shots from SLR. Alpha 7 losing 2 off the rip.
This is Alpha 7's kryptonite when it comes to Miramar. You know, losing players early on rotation. We know they like to drive through El Pozo, so they're looted up. To
Dog,
the
didn't
team.
get the wipe
But
early.
sometimes you got to full send it on. That's exactly what happened. Losing two of their
Two of
best
them get
players
wiped.
as well. Oh, that's
Right.
gotta hurt.
Yeah. Ugh. But that's kind of my point. Like, when are we gonna
Bro,
start
these
seeing more
niggas don't miss.
rotational camps
They do not
against
miss,
teams that
bro.
are on a double
Right?
point day?
Oh, that's what kills me because I've been waiting to see that. I'm like, why? It makes no sense for teams not to do it. In my
Like,
opinion.
imagine
you
going
know
against
which four
this.
squads are gonna have their double points day. You know where they like to drop. So why not try to camp a rotation and just take out a player, maybe even two? And let's be real. If you're gonna do that against a team like Alpha 7, that's the best way to fight them, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to fight them straight up, So
no.
if you can take them out of a vehicle like that, I mean, that's gonna help you out big time.
Yeah, where they can fight back, but you give yourself at least a little bit of an advantage. Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Especially early on. I mean, because worst case it doesn't work, you just drive away.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it works regardless because now you got Alpha 7 questioning themselves. You got teams thinking, oh man, are they camping us? And that could slow their rotation down by a few seconds, Cameron. And you know how it is in Battle Royale. Every second counts, right?
Yeah. 100%. Every single second counts, which is what we talked about so many times before about making the right call at the right time and everyone just full sending you, full commitment. And if you delay even a couple of moments, a couple of seconds, then your plan could really just get turned upside down. That's the same thing for spoiling another team. You get a knock, even if you don't confirm that elimination, you force them to go for the revive, and that can ruin their game or at least their initial game plan there.
Or even nading your own teammate, Cameron.
Exactly.
Yeah, that,
Bro,
that,
do you
that hurts
like
as
my
well.
bunny, bro?
So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to
The
going
blue bunny
for
on the screen.
these risk-reward
You like that
plays,
shit?
sure, prize pool is nice. All these teams that are going to try and put themselves in the best position on the leaderboard at the end of this event it makes sense. But it's the final week. I want to see teams say, I am willing to try and throw a Hail Mary that could potentially get me third, even if it risks
I'm not gonna
me
allow you to
dropping
disrespect
down,
my bunny
2
like
or
that.
3 leaderboard positions if it doesn't go right.
Yeah, even if that team gets destroyed in the group stage, right, during the World Cup, the experience alone is going to be absolutely incredible. Not to mention that, was it $3 million prize pool we're going to see coming up? Oh, boy. So, yeah, I mean, that is what we want to see. Oh, and what?
And it was not even confirmed that they're going to get destroyed. Death Wolves have been a total Cinderella story.
That's true.
Of this entire season so far. So for everyone else, yeah, sure, maybe I wouldn't expect much out of them. Death Wolves, I don't know what to expect. So if we get another team like that into the mix, suddenly throwing them into the global stage and seeing what happens, that'll be exciting.
That would be exciting, especially for Death Wolves coming all the way from the qualifiers to here and doing so well. Definitely that Cinderella story. Entity 7 popping some shots. This is probably the most aggressive we've seen them all tournament long. And that's a good sign. And it's unfortunate because we've seen this happen so many times, Cameron, where a team is so down the leaderboards last week, they start going crazy because now, all the anxiety, right? All the pressure is off their shoulders.
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? And this is what I was talking about, how the fact that they were actually playing the end game of the previous round to win. They were going on those flanks. They were setting up those crossfires. They weren't just huddling, hide out in a corner, shivering with their tails between their legs. So the fact that we get to see them do that again with the momentum of the victory of the chicken dinner, it could be an impactful force to kind of be the final boss of the teams that are trying to break into the top 4, because it's not going to happen for them. Mathematically, it's impossible. But Phase 2 shifts to Los Leones. This is suddenly a very different game because urban versus natural terrain, it's going to be wild.
You have to decide one or the other. And if you commit to Los Leones and that zone shifts away, it's going to be very difficult for your squad to extend into the end game. Let's see what happens, though, as you got Be Bold looking to possibly camp out Influence Rage, pick off a couple players. They are in the middle of zone here, so this is a great position for them to be in. Lord's in, not able to get the knock on the Federal. So if they realize this is the same team, they could push on to
Maybe just take the isolated player and go for a 4v1. Free kill. Free point, free elimination. But no, they are going to focus and stay on the high ground. They're not going to accidentally just full send into...
They should push this.
I mean, can you blame them for being a little tentative after the last game?
After the last game, yes. But
they
I
need
mean,
to make sure
380
that they
points.
cross all their T's, dotting all of their I's. They need to be 100% prepared for everything that could happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You know, I just looking at where they're at on the leaderboards, and again, like if I'm Be Bold, I'm hunting third. Like third is my goal, right? And if you get an opportunity like that, which is a pretty obvious, like, hey, 4v3, 4v2 situation, I think that you should take it, especially right now. It's Miramar early zone. Now it's too late. Now you've given up way too much time. Your chance of getting third partied is high, right? It's just, you have to make those gut instant decisions. And I think the reason why Be Bold isn't willing to take that risk is the reason why we see them, you know, in 10th.
Could very well be. You see Hyper, they're sending a lot of shots towards Queso, getting some good damage. They haven't got the knock for their own aggressive maneuver if they were looking for that.
Do you have a Bugatti?
Yeah, this is a tough position. This is what I early game play style, Cameron. Now that we got a little bit of time, this is something that I want to see teams tighten up, because what we notice is these teams like Team Liquid, Alpha 7, the 2 top squads, they almost avoid early game fights entirely, because they just know that, hey, if we take this fight, we're gonna get third party. You know, they only take them unless it's super obvious. They know they can delete them in like 30 seconds. You know. Yeah. So seeing, you know, teams like Hyper take these shots when realistically they're not gonna push, just kind of puts a little question mark in my head. What do you think?
I mean, if they get a knock, they could then try and push off of it. And I think it can be useful for scouting maneuvers and getting that information.
Bro, always cooking, bro.
Further into the round. The problem is, so many times we've seen, not just for Hyper, for any, that if they get knocked while doing that, their entire game plan falls apart.
Well, I mean, let's be real though. If they, let's say, if they were even to get a knock on Team Kessel and push, I mean, what are the odds they're just gonna get third partied and deleted either way? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's where I'm starting to really realize like the difference between these top 2 squads. Like they choose their fights well. We'll see like Team Liquid even get 2 knocks, but if they know they're gonna get third partied, they'll just say, let me just hold off, you know?
Well, but the damage on getting a knock, even if you don't push, can be useful later on in the game. These things of what we call resources of like helmet and armor, endurance, the bleed out timers, that stuff can be even just med kits and stuff that can be impactful later on in the game, and you never know what could come and help you, what butterfly effect helps you later on.
Absolutely, and not to mention, you know, gets the thumbs warm for the end game.
It also, if you get knocked, you're less likely to peek that angle again.
Good point. Good point indeed. Well, this is still stage 3. Yeah, it looks like Be Bold. Oh, challenging Fudia here. This is a big challenge. And Fudia getting that knock onto Brunson is going to hurt quite a bit. Where's the rest of Be Bold? They need to commit the entire squad here. David now putting some shots on the Kayovsky. Got to win this 1v1.
Oh, everyone's trying to get a ammo. Oh, these were very chaotic 1v1 sends by Furia. They were coming in all the way from the south. This is why Be Bold, I think, wanted to stay to this, hang on to this position instead of pushing it onto the teams around them as separate and isolated as they were. But Be Bold do lose 2 players.
Oh,
and
no.
David might have also lost the vehicle. That's not good.
Who gave this man his license?
Unfortunately, just stuck
Who
in one
gave
of the
this man
worst
his license,
Now,
bro?
Death Bulls is nearby. And look at this, right? We're talking about third parties. Death Bulls were right there. That fight ended just in the perfect time for Be Bold, but they do lose 2 in the process. So, again, some of these early fights are tough. Fudia lost the most, though, because they are right there aiming for third place.
Yeah.
And, you know, Death Wolves, I think Death Wolves, since they saw Fudia in the fight, they definitely pushed this extra hard.
Oh, no, I think it's under the vehicle with this. This is
bro's
gone
dead.
Bad to worse for Be Bold.
Bro is dead.
At least they have one still alive. Dropping the smoke a bit late.
Gotta chunk it. David
I'm trying to figure out why bro drive there.
All Glory Gaming might see him though. Does Cardi C spot him? We'll see in the next few minutes. Oh, he gets caught anyway from Influence Rage. Diego gonna get that thirst all the way from inside of Los Leones. And now here come the Death Wolves. Death Wolves do feel that, yeah, they see Hyper pretty weak here. Obscure with that DBS on the push.
Very aggressive push. There is a little bit of backup, but it's all 4 members of Hyper. They know that they're wounded. A couple of the med kits have already been popped, already been deployed. They're just keeping the pressure on Hyper here.
Death Wolves need to make a commitment here really fast. There we go. Gonna go ahead and get that thirst. Beautifully done. And now, yeah, Hyper in big old Death Wolves. Almost got them all taken out. We need to see a crazy play though. Stars gets knocked, and that should be it for Hyper.
It shouldn't be that easy to wipe.
Clean, not a single knock against Death Wolves. That's absolutely huge, and it's even more impactful because the circle does continue to not favor them, but
They
this
just
position
ran in
is
that
still a
shit
point
and
of
raped
interest
them,
in the zone, and they don't have to worry too
just
much
ran
about
in that
trying
shit
to
and
send it
raped
into the
them,
next zone as quickly as
Oh
you would
my
fear.
god.
Hey, Beauty, I gotta be kicking themselves. Oh, that monster truck, too close for comfort. As we're gonna watch SLR and
Potato.
9Z go at it, and Choco still gets the knock against Dragon. And there's Koi way far away from his team. Just gonna have to watch his squad slowly dwindle away from him. Oh, nice shot though against Choco. Hop in the vehicle, and he's on the way.
Oh, good damage, but White LG's not able to stay
Just
alive.
commit, Koi. Just
Bro,
commit.
No,
man,
at
you
this
get
point, back away. At this
chewed
point,
up
just try and
and swallowed,
salvage
bro.
placements out.
What placement? What placement are you gonna salvage?
On the corner of the zone, there is not much threat around this area. I understand it. I think a send could work either way. It's kind of a 50-50
Oh,
choice.
he got the guy. Oh, I thought he was gonna
Yeah.
get that confirmation at least.
I
And
would've pushed
oh,
this
here
shit
comes
if I was
Alpha
bro.
7 just saying, oh well, if you're not gonna
I
do
would've
it, we
full
will.
send it though, but
Yeah,
I'd
that's
get
the
closer.
other one. The threat of a team third partying with all of these knocks and eliminations in the kill feed was high. So again, Koi perhaps a bit too
Well,
tentative, but
tournament
I
them, I
completely
can't
understand it.
even
As Alpha
do
7, they remember they lost 2 players very early on, so they're not going to overpush this position either. Just use those frag grenades, try and steal a couple of eliminations away.
See what happens is Titan Gaming now on the push up towards All Glory Gaming. All Glory Gaming in 9th position, if I recall. Yep, you're gonna have to make a play here. Red Ox, oh, with the DBS, shutting them down
One
real
shot,
quickly.
dog.
And the rest of All
Red
Glory
shot.
Gaming too far away to help out their player. And
What?
Red Ox from long distance down to 1 HP. He's gonna go get knocked. Yep, and that is Red Ox gonna get finished. Oh, but Doran, he's right there.
Good trade.
Yeah, get the nice trade. And
Shotgun's better,
maybe
bro.
Rez on inactive? Nope.
Dog, nah, Riz.
Yeah, Doran has to
What
try to
man this-
isolate these 1 versus 1s. Gets one down. Now it is 1v1 left. First aid kit coming through, but it's a revive happening on the opposite side for AGG V2. There is a
Bro
third
built
party
different.
team getting curious on that side. Again, Alpha 7 versus 9Z, and Koi did come. Koi did join the party.
Hey, better late than never. Koi said, okay, you know what? I am going to get in the mix. What do I got to lose? We're in 14th place. Let me make something happen. It'd be good for him to develop his skills. And Koi is, honestly, he is a legend in the game. I mean, this man can get it done by himself. So why not? If you're SLR, hey, Koi, put on a show.
Koi a
Who
fish.
knows? We might see him on another team soon.
Oh man, smokes out by Doran. I think he's out. Knows where that player is hiding out.
Yeah,
in, though.
you're
The
dead.
Molly goes a bit too far, and Doran's frag grenade
Yeah,
never
you're
turned.
dead.
Listen,
Yeah,
if Doran and AGG V2 have like a silent mental handshake here, maybe
Are they gonna
Jetbolts
get
could get
back
stopped.
for him though?
It's possible here. Oh, Elite. Wow, look at that 9Z.
Yep.
Actually punishing Alpha 7 here. That is interesting. And did get knocked. 2 of the Alpha 7 players are gone. Next zone goes on up. Who do you like in this next zone, Cameron?
Oh man, I mean anyone who's in Los Leones, it's kind of
Who do you like
a
the
coin
most,
flip from
though?
there. I guess
Who do you like
Influence
the
Rage.
most?
I suppose
Influence
Influence Rage.
In our
But
setup look
it's not-
clean.
Andy 7, they're unstoppable. They won the last game, Cameron. It's their time to shine. They're gonna come back. I'm telling you.
My concern with E7's position right now is that it is quite split for an urban finish.
they're doing
It's
shit,
very
bro.
easy for those separated, isolated players to get run up upon by even like a duo or a
RG is
trio
doing shit.
in those
See
buildings.
what happens. Yeah, absolutely correct.
I'd like to
It's
see them
gonna be
group
tough.
up and hold that center spot. If they do that, then they'll my top spot, top building of this zone.
Let's see what happens here. As you know, Team Liquid are still in the mix. They have all 4 players up, so they could definitely try to extend that first place lead above Alpha 7. Alpha 7 with 3 eliminations, even though they have 2 players. That is going to put them back in first place temporarily. As we're still in stage 5. Yep, and this is going to be the Team Liquid position. They're going to have a little bit of a hill to climb here in the next few minutes, but they're going to make a push. It's going to be onto Entity 7, so that they do have that going for them.
Problem is, Inko's going to be looking at it. Inko's going to be overwatching that with the high floor, high angles from these buildings, and Liquid playing in from the low ground. It's going to be difficult for them. If they have some vehicle, a spot to hold out in, but
Oh,
the
nice
spray's
shot.
coming out. Like I say, it's playing. It's what, fish in a barrel. It's whack-a-mole.
Oh yeah.
That grenade
And now,
would
yeah,
win a bit
Inko's
wide,
gonna be
What are these
staring
nades that
at
they're
this spot
throwing?
for sure. because the next zone, if it goes up in any other direction, then Team Liquid's gonna have to push out into the open. So the Inco's definitely gonna be writing down in their notebook and have that ready to go for this next circle. Let's see where it pops though. It can still go in any direction. It looks like we are gonna get that urban finish, Cameron. So we're gonna see this zone go down to nothing.
If it goes southwest, then it will be a bit of a different game with interesting terrain in play. But yeah, anywhere else, buildings galore, just everyone hiding out and trying to be the last one alive, which is, I feel like, is kind of just battle royales in general, but
That is the
especially
goal.
so.
That is the goal,
but you know what I mean. Like an urban
do.
finish, there's an extra level to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everyone's just trying to survive, and there's just so many buildings, so much coverage. I mean, the chance of you being able to, snake it to a top position is totally possible. Cardi in the open. Oh, putting on his dancing shoes, but Rato Boy gets knocked in return by Influence Rage Law. So Influence Rage in the mix here. Guizao and Death Wolves. Man, these guys are on a tear. 8 eliminations. And that is going to extend their third place lead by quite a bit, especially considering that Furia are eliminated. So if Influence Rage realize that this is Death Wolves, I think they definitely need to try to make a little bit of a step up to try and take them out. But they are so far away. They're going to be just holding their position for now. Next zone, about to pop. Where's it going?
Southwest? Maybe? No, it's going to basically be center. It goes west just a touch. But this is still, look at E7. I think they are starting to group up just a little bit. They are quite greedy with their 1-2-1 split still. But it hasn't been pushed on yet. It hasn't been capitalized yet. So we'll see if they can hold on to that better. But now Influence Rage, a good position still. Them trying to extend towards the center. I don't know what positions are really possible once it finishes. So I can see them easily just locking down this position that they're at on the east side further.
Team Liquid getting a knock onto Inco from downtown. Yeah, you can see Jocko saying, all right, let me just try to group up with my squad. I think this was definitely very, very good. They recognized it. We're able to make it safely to each other. Inco Gaming putting some shots on the NRG. And I think we're going to see some more hurrying up and wait. So 2 minutes on the clock. And, but, oh, Koi catches McGrellan. So SLR Koi still putting in some work.
All right, puts it down to
Bro's
SLR
the last
versus
man
Alpha
standing,
7.
bro. Still cooking.
I like it.
Koi's gonna make it close.
Mafioso throwing some mollies. Oh, Koi jumping boxes. The floor is lava. And Mafioso. Oh, they are gonna see. Yep, he sees Team Liquid wide out in the open. Now Koi. Now he said, okay, I know we're going against each other. It's time to work together.
Prepping a grenade, smoking off that angle, smoking off the potential cross. I think it might have been. But also just trying to find a corner to hide in, because this is a good push for a Liquid to take. Much easier to push on this way, clear out a couple of enemy players, get some eliminations, get closer to placement points without having to push into the high ground that is blocked off aggressively by Inco and E7.
Trying to see who's gonna win this.
Koi and Mafioso, these are players that if you make a mistake, they're gonna take advantage of it for sure. Rato Boy got thirsted, so Death Wolves gonna lose a huge player. Down to 3. Obscure getting knocked as well. Death Wolves just getting shredded here on the rotation.
Yeah, Death Wolves were in a really good position on the high ground, but there wasn't a lot of cover, and so moving from that spot, it's understandable that they're getting cut down at the pass.
It is what it is. Sometimes that is what happens. And yeah, look at that. Another player gets knocked. Rolls of War, especially since they realize this is Death Wolves. I am not shocked at all to see them just turn up the heat here. They want to get them thirsted out real quickly as we move back on over.
It's not even the 1 versus 1. Well, it is kind of 1 versus 1 because Ayala is way overextended. The pre-fire doesn't land. Koi, the great defense, instantly thirsts that one out.
That's crazy.
That was an unforced error by Liquid. No reason for Ayala to go so aggressive. We do have Death Wolves that get eliminated. Royals of War, very valuable eliminations for them to get because, again, how it impacts the leaderboard specifically.
Yeah, not to mention Death Wolves had 8 eliminations, so to stop them right then and there was very beneficial for them because they're trying to make that miracle run, but you got to stop Death Wolves at the meantime because if they keep playing the way they've been playing, Cameron, they're going to have a lead that's just is insurpassable at this point. But we'll see what happens as, Alpha 7 still alive, Mafioso, last player up, and he's going up against Team Liquid here, or he was. Next zone pops. Oh, a lot of these players are going to have to get moving.
E7's looking good, but I think Influence Rage, they might have even better angles. We'll see how that actually impacts. But those two teams are focused on the opposite sides of the zone. It's like a bracket they're going to face off at the very end, most likely. But as we're still looking at the two solo players of A7 and SLR and the remaining members of Liquid.
Boy's got that molly. Yep, he heard those pre-fires. He's gonna go right on back. Mafioso getting tagged up. Man, this movement is absolutely insane. He's keeping an eye on those Team Liquid players. That's the player he wants to take out. He's also got his eyes set on Koi.
Yeah,
and Koi knows, oh, trying to cross this hallway is not gonna be fun.
Yeah, Mafioso's been dodging grenades for a while. Koi only has one molly left. The blue's starting to close in. Koi has the advantage in this fight, but we'll see how Liquid impact it.
Koi and Mafioso just going at it. They say, hey, you know what? We know that we're going to go out no matter what to blue, so let's just try to get one more elimination, and it's Koi going to get Mafioso. So that is Alpha 7 eliminated, and Koi most likely going to go out to blue here. And Team Liquid, they need to actually get on the move. 2 players up. They're going to do a blind send on up the hill.
Another option. They tried to find some other angles to break in. Have been stopped every single bit of the way, and I don't know if this is going to be enough cover because Franco's high ground position. Chief needs to open something up. If he can get knocked here, that'll be something, but it's not going to happen as, yes, SLR do go down. They have 6 eliminations. Most, if not all, from Koi himself, and Inko now. High ground spot overlooking Chief and the rest of Liquid.
Yeah, and I bet they're just trying to put a little bit more work onto them, make it more difficult for them to rotate. And it definitely is. So Inko Gaming still in the mix, 6th place right now, 1 elimination, looking to try and catch Death Wolves here. All Glory Gaming go down. That's going to be a huge loss for them. And it's anybody's game. We're now about to reach stage 8. This is going to be the final circle shift for this game. Where is it going to go?
And there are still 8 teams alive. It's still an urban finish at the end of the day, even if it is featuring. Coming in.
Oh no! Oh no!
Spraying everybody down, gonna get the thirst, and it's him versus 7. Oh, but Franco from the back is gonna catch him slipping, so that is Team Liquid done for. They're gonna hold down to first place for another game here, because now ND7 are setting their eyes on to Team Kessel.
Oh, I mean, a good grab on the north, but now everyone's focused on the south. 4 versus 3. There is one member of E7 that's playing a more flank angle, but I'm not sure how much support they're going to be able to give here, especially because Queso are already in the bottom floor.
Anybody's game here. 6 teams still remaining. Who is going to take this chicken dinner? Influence, Rage, Inko, Team Kessel, Rules of War definitely needed, and Team Kessel gonna get another elimination, and that is Inko Gaming gone. Oh, look at this. Team Kessel got the shotgun. 3rd person got the hill. And Silence. Oh, gets knocked. Are they going to be able to get the rest? The rest of the team is there. Team Kessel needs to finish this quickly.
They do. It's great for E7. Put themselves in position to potentially get another chicken dinner, 2 in a row. Franco doesn't have time to heal on up, and the revives are coming through from Queso.
Oh, yeah, they're
of course,
dead.
the drop down's going to try and stop that, but the covering fire at range by Royals of War allows Queso to get the double revive.
Victex, man, just helping out Team Kessel right there and shutting down 87. But now here comes NRG. NRG looking to go and put some pressure on the Team Kessel as this zone is closing. And this will be the final zone coming up. Uh-oh, Fate. 2v1, DBS.
Oh my god.
Not able to hit the shots.
No, and the grenades aren't landing from the teammates outside. It's all down to Melas. Last one up for NRG. It's not going to be enough. Queso holding on. It was looking close every single time. The jump across was good for NRG, but still Queso as they remove Entity 7.
Great teamwork there from Team Kessel. I'm surprised Rules of War didn't just straight punish them. Oh, here come the nades, though. Oh, that is way too close. M2M survives by the skin of his teeth. But yeah, Team Kessel in big trouble. Rules of War want to get these eliminations sooner rather than later.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm seeing low meds on Queso across the board. They've been getting knocked a lot here. So I think 3rd place is probably the furthest they're going to be able to take themselves. And Royals of War, they are pushing hard, especially because they can play under these walls. No real angle for Influence Rage yet. No, we see grenades being thrown in from the opposite side.
Team Kessel eliminated. Top 2 remaining. Influence Rage definitely need to cross this road. And with that 3rd party, now they have a little bit of time to do so. So they are in a great position. It's going to be a big 1v1. Federal needs to try to catch Victex. Victex has the nade, though. Oh, and Federal jumps away from it. So anybody's game here. Royals of War versus Influence Rage. A great game for both these teams. They needed these points badly.
A lot of grenades still left in play at the moment. Clearing out that final corner. Coldcoat on the high ground could spot the small type position that the trio of Influence Rage are playing on, but there is still a fourth here, more closer towards the center.
Got him. This should be a Royals of War win.
Bro,
Great
camping.
performance. Oh, but that shot from Lob now brings it down. It's going to be up to Coldcoat.
Wait, what is
by
he
himself.
doing?
What can he do? Oh, not to mention Tonka. Tonka finally pops out. Catches Federal, but gets caught in the same time. So Coldcoat has to make it happen all by his lonesome.
Goes the high ground, has the advantage of the peak.
That Molly.
Oh yeah, that's
is he
over
gonna do
with.
good? Is he gonna be able to get the beautiful spread? And I believe it does. He catches him. So Coldcoat not done yet. 9 eliminations for Royals of War.
Is he gonna clutch,
he's gotta win
though?
this 1v1. Him versus Milo.
Never mind.
And that is how it's gonna end. Influence Rage with
Oh
a
shoot.
very necessary chicken dinner, and oh, that's gonna leave pressure off their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that one player, Royals of War, staying behind in the containers, letting them cross, that could have easily been the final nail in the coffin. But Influence Rage, they hold their nerve, and they get the chicken dinner. And you could never rely on a Los Leones or any Urban Finish chicken dinner, so it's a good one to win.
For sure.
Oh, dude, come on. We've had 2 banger games back to back. I'm so happy. I really am, because now it's not just a narrative of Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, which it typically is. We're getting much more, at least it's developing much more, whether it's Influence Rage, who just get the winner chicken dinner. You go a game before that, E7 taking the victory. Royals of War, both back-to-back second places. Hot Jukes, I take that all day, every day if I'm Royals of War.
Oh man, I mean, they had a great game 1, right? They had a great game 1, and now with a second place finish here, this is 2 back-to-back good games for Royals of War. So when I said, like, hey, this is what teams need to do if they want to get 3rd place, Royals of War is doing their job, right? The problem is we're seeing a lot of these teams above them do great performances as well, Taylor, right?
I know. Yeah, and it's, it's not hard to see, right? But I don't know. It's just weirdly like today, I'm a Royals of War fan. I am. I mean, Coldcoat put up a tremendous performance in that final zone. I wanted him to clutch that 1v3. I mean, that would have been special from him. And then you got Aragon right from game number 1. But I want to start here. Dude, Cameron, Red Ox was putting in great work. Dorian as well. Titan Gaming caught out with their pants down in a way against AGG, but they fought back tooth and nail.
Yeah, but like we're going to see throughout most of this round, once the mid-game hit, Influence Rage, with their position in the center of the urban spot, influenced so much. That's why we saw so many fights just like this on the edge, because no one could extend towards the center. They're also going to open themselves up for the high ground man in the high castle type shots.
Sure. Queso doing a wonderful job, like you said, through the chaos. And I love chaos, right? As a spectator, as a viewer, caster, host, whatever role I have right behind the screen, I love chaos, to play through that chaos. Let's talk about it. Great finish, 3rd place, 7 eliminations. We were just seeing a bit of that chaos. Obviously, they fall right here in the replay, but great work. Now let's talk about Influence Rage, though. They get into this tussle with the muscle at the end, and stage 9 almost get pieced up, but they hold their ground, Hot Jukes.
Yeah, they held their ground, phenomenally. I thought they were going to go out here. I
did too.
Royals of War were able to get just 1 piece of utility right there on that broken wall. They would have been able to take them out, but they just weren't able to connect. And Influence Rage took full advantage of it. 17-point game from them. Beautifully done.
Beautifully done indeed. They come in 5th place. Influence Rage, Cameron, you were kind of singing their praises about their consistency, but also like in terms of like compared to Alpha 7 Team Liquid, right? Obviously some improvements needing to be made, but as far as an improvement, I would take this 1st place winner chicken dinner as that being the case. From 5th place to 3rd, I think it's still, but this is the start they needed.
Yeah, looking back, it kind of fits in the narrative that we pointed out at the start of the day, is that, yeah, sure, they have a win here, 7 elimination, 10 placement points, but just before this, they had the first elimination against them of the week,
right.
Only 2 points, so we need for them to really start being consistent at the top level of consistency, because you can be consistently poor, you can be consistently at the bottom of the leaderboard. That's not what we expect from Influence Rage.
Not whatsoever. And also from Death Wolves, a team that is looking to stay above Furia. They will do so in game number 2. Hot Jukes finishing in 12th place with 8 eliminations. You know, the big question for them is what if? What if they would have continued their run starting so early with 8? I mean, they could have had a record-breaking game.
Yeah, they could have, you know, but the thing too is that they have the biggest targets on their backs above to everybody else because,
sure, absolutely,
you know, everybody is hunting down that 3rd place spot, and 8 eliminations, a great game overall, and they're going to continue that lead, right? They're going to continue that lead for now, but look at Influence Rage. They're on the hunt.
They're on the hunt. They overtake Furia. That's the first time, Cameron, that Furia has dropped from anything other than 3rd and 4th place. You know, Furia, the conversation last week, Cameron, was that Furia was kind of slow. They were just trying to maintain their position. We haven't really seen too many crazy moments from Furia or good games. And, well, it's starting to show as now Influence Rage will pass them up, and ultimately, obviously, Death Wolf sitting above them as well.
Yeah, and we saw the crazy send by them at the last second on that southeast sort of peninsula that Death Wolves ended up taking over at the end of all things. But it was a very scattered send. It was almost like they had no other option, and they probably had no other option leading to that point. So for Furia, for them to stop this sort of slow death by 1,000 cuts, I'd like to see them make sense like that, aggressive moves like that, when the opportunity is better and it's not their like last option.
AGG, be bold. We discussed how they needed to come up today. They're still sitting in 9th and 10th place. Truthfully, they're just not. The first 2 games, you know, Erangel, Miramar, just not enough, right, to move them up to where they need to be. So much ground to cover. Hot Jukes, be bold. AGG, still a lot more work needed to be done, but I would be worried if I'm them because Team Queso, they're playing decently well today. Obviously, E7, they're a little bit further down, but they're even doing better right than that of Be Bold and move up. But still, that race for top 4, it's starting to heat up, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like, until I see something from them, I'm not even going to talk about them. You know, like, besides the fact that they threw, I mean, Be Bold started, it's tough. So right now, I think we're going to go back in just a minute, and I think Furia is going to be who I'm going to be talking about.
I like that. Furia is a great talking point. They need to stop maintaining and start gaining. That's going to be the saying they need to live by. Hey, game number 2 is done. Miramar is gone. We'll be hopping into Aragon when we come back. However, we do have a special interview lined up for you. Sarpatch is on site to talk to Titan Gaming's Doran. Let's hear what he had to say.
All right, guys, here we are with Doran with Team Titans. Doran, congratulations. It was an intense match for you. You were by yourself most of the match, and still you got a lot of kills.
Yes. I was by myself since the, I don't know, 7, and I did a good job. We did 10 points. It's a good beginning for the first day. Well, for the first match also, yeah.
So you're feeling good. You eliminated 3 teams. Team Liquid?
I don't know, I kill a lot. Yeah, Team Liquid, Be Bold, I think.
Yes.
Energy, and one more guy from the Death Wolves.
All by yourself?
Yeah.
Carrying the team right here. Bro, best of luck. Let's
Bro
continue.
just,
Let's go, Nate.
Bro just said that like it was nothing. It is true though.
PMSL Pass is active today to the 30th of June. There is a message pinned at the top of chat with a code and a link. Redeem the code with the provided link to earn 20 points in the new PMSL Pass event and be that much closer to earning the Dark Arch Gentleman set Dark Legend UMP 45. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2024 PUBG Mobile Super League America Spring Season, day number 11. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Hot Chooks and Cameron Davis. 2 games down, about to hop into game number 3. We're running smoothly today. You love to see that. Erringale is where we go back to. And Hot Chooks, let's open it up hot with the discussion on Furia, a team that has been maintaining instead of gaining. That's what they need to do because all the other teams are gaining on them.
Yeah, I'm really starting to get nervous for Furia. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen, that dominant squad that I need to. And the reason why I say that is because they have something on their shoulders that a lot of other teams don't have. And that's the fact that they're in Group A. Okay? So tomorrow is going to be their double points day. And they're going to have to watch everybody else get theirs, right? So what is going to happen, right? I mean, they need to create their whole way of winning this is creating a lead so big that nobody can pass them. That's the only way they're going to get third place. Right. If they do not have a good double points day, we're not going to see them in third. That's my opinion, right? So the fact that we're seeing them let off the gas today, considering their double points day is tomorrow, makes me nervous for them.
And that's a solid point. Obviously Furia, Group A, Cameron, another team that's also in Group A is Inco Gaming. And although they haven't necessarily been standout today, they still are in the running to potentially make it into the top 4. So Group A tomorrow is not only Furia's day, but also Inco's day.
Yeah, I do want to kind of hit back onto Furia, though, real quick, because I'm pretty sure we talked about this at the very beginning of this entire event, very top of the show. A lot of teams made big roster movements, more so than I think we've seen before, and we know that this space is rife of roster moves all the time. Yeah. And Furia is basically a brand new roster of players from all different teams. I don't think a single one of them had played recently with each other. It wasn't like they took 2 players from one team and then threw 2 others in there. It was like 4 or 5 players that were up until recently up on different teams, right? So it's understandable that there would need to be an amount of time for them to get their chemistry in, to sort of like really get that sync up, that mental connection that you expect from the top level teams, which is why it's not surprising that we have Alpha 7 and the Team Liquid X Loops roster essentially be at the top. But so far, today, it's only been 2. It still hasn't shown me any promising signs of being over that line. And as Juke says, with tomorrow, not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever. I mean, it's going to be Thursday, but not Friday, Saturday, or Sunday being the double points day, tomorrow being the double points day. Like, something needs to click. I want to see now, basically, or towards the end of today, to have hope that tomorrow they're going to come in hot.
Yeah, without question, because you can't bank on the fact that we had a bad Wednesday, but Thursday double points will be all right. It doesn't work that way. And it hasn't worked that day historically, right? So tomorrow is arguably the most important day for Furia out of the entirety of these 3 weeks. I think that could be said for every double points day for multiple teams, whether it be Team Queso, who's in the running, obviously Royals of War, who are just standout at this point in time, just incredible influence, Rage, Inco Gaming, right? These teams on their double points, they have to be incredible. Furia is one of the major conversations there. And, Hot Chicks, I loved what Cameron said during the commentary of game number 2 on Miramar, and that's Deathwolves have been really that Cinderella team, and they really have been. Coming out of the qualifiers, Deathwolves have been so consistently good and really made an impact, at least in my mind, all the way back to week number 1, where I was like, wow, Deathwolves is a serious threat. They are a serious team, and, last game, 12th place, but 8 eliminations. Their ceiling is incredibly high, but what is it going to take for them to reach that ceiling?
Well, it's going to take a lot, right? I mean, it's not over yet for them. They are doing excellent here, and they have the most opportunity compared to everybody else that also has the biggest target on their back. And it's going to be the first time they're really having to deal with it. So it's going to be up to them to stiff arm the competition and just hold on, right? And it's going to be easier said than done for sure.
Well, boys, if we get a military zone, Deathwolves, I think, are going to be all right. That's where they typically land. Now, granted, they had to go all the way up north, game number 1, Erringale. Will they get blessed in game number 3, Erringale? We're going to find that out. Hot Chooks, Cameron Davis, take it away.
Here we for Wednesday. And I'm going to say this. out of all the teams that I would want to see come in third place, as so far from what I've seen, it's Death Wolves, right? Because I love to see teams here, you know, on the west side of the world compete against the best of the best. And out of all the teams, when it comes to just looking at their play style, their hunger, their ceiling, you know, as opposed to, of course, you know, Team Liquid and Alpha 7, I think Death Wolves definitely has what it takes. But they also have everything going against them, Cameron, right? Because all eyes are on them. And, you know, if Furia, if you're their coach, right, what would you want to see for them, right, in order to make it to third place? Like, what would be your ultimate strategy for them?
I mean, ultimate strategy is really taking the opportunities, having clean communication with each other so everyone knows what page that they're all on, and maximizing point gain on the double points day that they have.
Tomorrow.
And to be fair, to Furia's credit, they actually have the most bonus points of any other team in week 2. They were able to maximize their double points game day more than anyone else. Granted, it seemed to be a little bit of a deficit for all the other days that they had, but if they can replicate their, what was it on week 2, on day 1, like a third, 2 firsts, and a second place, like that's pretty good. If they can do that again tomorrow, that'll be great. But for Death Wolves, on sort of the opposite side of things, not opposite on the leaderboard, but sort of opposite on the story, I think, is the big concern that I have for Death Wolves is because they've been on this Cinderella run, unlike all the other teams around them, whether it's Furia, with even though it's a new team, it's veteran players, or veteran rosters like Alpha 7 and Team Liquid, is that they don't have the experience of picking themselves up when they get put down, when it's an endurance run for them at this point. Do they know how to stop the fights from happening? Because you often hear in esports teams people talk about the idea of a honeymoon period. When it's a new roster, everyone's excited to make something of the moment. Things are looking good, but the second something bad happens, and you have to like figure out how to push through the areas, that's when things can go wrong. So I haven't seen signs of it happening yet, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking for Death Wolves, like, are they going to be able to maintain this level, or will they gas themselves out emotionally, like mentally, before this entire run is over?
Well, yeah, they're not going to be able to, considering that they're on the opposite end of where Furia is, and that's in the groups, Cameron, right? Because Furia is in Group A, so tomorrow will be their double points day. Death Wolves are in Group D, so they're going to have the last day of the tournament to know exactly how many points they need to secure that last spot, right? So different strategies are going to come out big time. So if you're Furia, I think the only thing that you could do here is like, hey, you need to have a great Wednesday. Tomorrow needs to be a monstrous day, and then you need to like just put up a wall against all the teams below you, right? Do whatever you can to stop them from catching you. And Death Wolves, it's you need to stop Furia tomorrow, and then on the last day of the tournament, you got to go crazy. So, I mean, there's a lot of theory crafting for sure. Yeah. But you're gonna have to stop other teams. You can't just play your own game and just hope that luck is on your side, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, but the problem is that stopping an opposing team is not as easy as it sounds. Because on one hand, it's like, oh, well, it's their double points day, it's my single points day, so let's just hot drop them, and the risk reward is, like, you know, if we ruin their game, that's worse for them versus if we ruin ours. But when you think about it for like half a second longer, it's like, wait a second, if we just feed them 4 eliminations, that's 8 points. So wait a second, it's not like it's not that straightforward.
Really... I think avoiding, I mean, hot dropping is one strategy. I think I like what you said earlier on, and that's like camping rotations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just do all you can to annoy them, right? Make them force themselves to go to another drop location, make them second guess them things. And any little kind of annoyance like that is just going to make it more difficult for them to have a successful double points day. So that's what I want to see during that time for sure.
Yeah. It's also once you see their name in the elimination feed and you're in a position to lean further in that direction. Don't just completely int. Don't just run down onto them one at a time and give them the opportunity to, again, get 8 free elimination points, but rather just sort of like have a slight preference towards ruining their game than another squad's.
Which would make sense, right? Because, I mean, on double points day, if they were to go on and win that game, they can walk away with 50. You know what I'm saying? And that's better than them walking away with... You would rather want to stop them than them getting 50 and you get... You know what I'm saying? So, I mean... And it's crazy because you're right. When you talked about it earlier, this is a new strategy. you know, and it's taken a while, I think, for teams to kind of understand this meta, but they've had 2 weeks now, so there's no excuses at this point.
Right.
Like, you got to pull out every strategy in the books. You got to start putting the pen to the paper and start pulling them out here. As, you know, it looks like Alpha 7 strategy is like, yeah, let's take out the team in second to last place.
Hey, Alpha 7, they got taken out. 2 of their members taken out very early on Miramar by one of the teams at the bottom. So I don't blame them for starting to put a little bit more respect back into all the teams in the lobby, regardless of where they are on the leaderboard.
That's right. Reminds me of that Christopher Walken speech, right? So sometimes you gotta show the hyenas, you know, who the lion is, and that is Alpha 7. Because I mean, these guys, like I said, I think that they're on the side of, yeah, like the battle between first and second, that's going to happen when it happens. We have the last day of the tournament to get our double points, so I don't think they're too worried. I think they're more focusing on like, hey, let's fine-tune things for the Esports World Cup. And that's the advantage you get when you're so high in the leaderboards, right? You don't even got to worry about anything. They know they're going there already, right? And I think they would rather fix things and get second and do better in the Esports World Cup than get first here and do bad over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the thing is that there's a limit to how much you can fix in these regional lobbies, because the class of teams are entirely different. And when you start to focus on maximizing your playstyle against these squads, you could kind of leave openings that better, like higher caliber teams, when there's 16 of them in the lobby, could take advantage of. So I think that the focus should definitely be on fixing problems in regards to communication and rotations, and of course just your ability to land shots. But I've seen it happen before where teams are like, oh, we're dominating these lobbies, that means we're going to be great. It's like, not so much, because you're going to get punished. Like, what works here, sometimes that means is something that you're doing that can get punished there.
And one thing that is for sure is going to be playing an edge style, you know, because in that stage, all the teams are ridiculously difficult. So playing edge, you know, just kind of wiping teams that are a little bit weaker is going to be so much more difficult later on. So I think Alpha 7 are doing this because, like, let's be real. If Alpha 7 wanted, they could just head to center zones, chill, and then just take everybody out, you know?
Right.
But that play's obvious, right? There's nothing you're going to work on because there's no need for communication because they've been in that situation so many times. So playing edge now could put them in some harder spots to work on their comms. Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see them do this in the World Cup. World Cup, I want to see them focusing on something different for sure.
Yeah, as long as they have that in mind. And, I mean, Alpha 7, honestly, more than any other team in the region, has had that top-level experience of performing at the top level, being there on the world stage. So if there's a team that I could trust to know how to manage this phase of the competition for best results come World Cup, it would be them.
For sure. Well, we have a beautiful Western zone, and we might even have an Everest finish. So this is a very typical circle here. Teams know what to do. And let's see who's going to take advantage of it the best. Looks like Furia are going to be holding down that Everest position first. So they're going to have at least a decent advantage when it comes to that. We'll see where the last zone goes to. Yeah. But we also have teams like, you know, Be Bold going to have to push on in.
What worries me about Furia, though, is that this is an impactful spot. It's a very powerful position, but that usually means that there's multiple teams that could eventually fight over it. And so we'll see how much Furia can really hold off. And usually, oftentimes, you'll see it basically be split down the middle and, like, 2 victorious teams on the northeast and the southwest edge. See if Furia want to overextend and try and hold the whole thing now, because there is going to be a push in the compound. Queso directly on top of 9Z.
Gotta hit those. Potro not able to get that knock, and they're gonna lose some players because of it. And here comes Choco. No, actually, he don't even need to come over here. That's it. Team Queso eliminated, and that's the 7th place team. Tough loss for them. Yep, Team Liquid really quick on the third party. And good for 9Z to finish that fight so fast. They'll have a little bit of time to get rezzed here, but they're definitely gonna be on the back foot because Team Liquid's coming in hot.
Really hot. Molly's on the top floor as well, just to make sure. And I think, is that it? No, there's one left hiding in the opposite house. Team Liquid lost track of where every single member was, which makes sense because they came in so hot. But let's see what this DBS can do. 1 versus 4. It's not going to be an easy task.
That's what I love about Team Liquid, is that they send everybody because they know that their chance of getting 4th partied in this spot is high. But it ain't going to happen if you just wipe out the team in an instant, and that's exactly what they did. So nice heads-up play for Team Liquid to soak up some easy points.
It's a good position in the zone. It also gives them straightforward access into Everest if the circle does continue to play that way. So this, I think, was a very, very strong take for Liquid to do. They got eliminations, good positioning. What's not to love?
I mean, what more could you ask for, right? That's what
Right.
you need to do, and they did it perfectly. 50 seconds on the clock here for stage 2. This is only stage 2, and we're losing teams already. Not surprised at all with an Everest position. Teams
Right.
definitely want those dominant spots. But,
It's also
this next, what's up?
It's also a lot of field to manage around, and then the river on the north as well.
True, yeah. Imagine if we see a northern shift to go all the way to the river. That'd be crazy.
Get some cube action. Cube ends up being center.
NRG are chilling by Cube right now, so you can see
Yeah.
them splitting up, just kind of trying to figure out where they're going to go. They might get no engagement with Be Bold here on the edge. That'd be interesting. Is David? Yeah, he is trying to figure out the best spot to go towards. He's going to be pushing in through the zone. 5 seconds on the clock. Where are we going to get another toxic shift? Let's see. Let's see. Nope. Right on to Everest. So everybody expected the zone to go here. We're going to see Team Liquid most likely even head towards Everest here, try to get a little bit more central as the teams on top are going to have to push on down. Alpha 7 as well, looking to head a little bit towards crates.
So with Be Bold and Energy, I wonder the likelihood that they expected another team to be up here. Thankfully, the shift towards the north does continue to give them a little bit of space to play around. They don't have to rush over the river too long as it can. It means that they can take this fight a little more methodically if they wanted to. But no one's really getting an advantage here. I'm not seeing any knocks. I'm seeing 1 or 2 players out in the blue to try and have those extended angles. But the grenades aren't landing.
The nades aren't landing. They are kind of hard to throw here. They have to kind of nail them perfectly. Oh, and
David!
that's going to do it. Yeah, going to catch Reyes off. And Malaz getting David. NRG taking full advantage of Be Bold here. And Be Bold, man, just not having that bounce back that we were hoping to see from them. And NRG taking full advantage. And that is it. Be Bold eliminated.
Knock against Energy, a really good fight for them to win. And now there's enough time for them to consider now there's enough time for them to consider trying to find some information and crossing the river early if the option is available for them. I'm looking at the map, and I don't see too many teams on the opposite side of the river. Most teams are still playing on the south of Everest, around the Gatka fields.
That's the spot right there. I mean, and that position's just so strong because regardless of where the zone goes, you have like a lot of different options to rotate through. So I'm not surprised we're going to see so many teams take that position. Zone could still shift off of Everest, that's for sure. Alpha 7 are making their bet on the crates for now. The rest of the teams are just trying to find their way to sneak on in here. All Glory Gaming are going to take the spot right next to Everest. Oh, looks like they might even, Fran might be trying to get some sight lines towards Enhyper. That compound where Enhyper is at is my favorite position in the zone. It's so strong. But can they utilize it?
Yeah.
Can they utilize it? That's always the question.
Right. It's just, at this point, Furia's position, they haven't been too oppressive from it, but it's going to have sightlines over a lot of fights. It's going to third party a lot of stuff. Now, granted, if Enhyper from this spot, they could push towards the east over to AGGV2 and just kind of play below the defilade and not let Furia have those sightlines. But it's too early to go for a super hyper-aggressive maneuver on that just yet. And also, they're looking towards the west, towards Royals of War, but we're seeing more and more teams finally start to approach Everest.
Yeah, the reason why I like Enhyper's position so much is because you can keep away from so many different squads.
Right.
And you leave yourself with like 3 different options to catch a third party, right? So if Royals of War fight Team Liquid, you could just push that way. If All Glory Gaming fight Inco, you could push that way. And that looks like one of those options is going to happen sooner than later because the zone does go up north. Alpha 7 are going to be hanging on to their spot for now, but Enhyper got to get moving, but you can't go too early. You want to catch a third party.
Especially because Entity 7 are also arriving in from the blue, so I think it's a bit hotter than what Enhyper were expecting. They were forced to back away because of that. Royals of War didn't go as aggressive on Liquid as it looked like they were at the start. And now Enhyper, I think they've kind of blown their cover.
I'm surprised they pushed so fast. That was crazy because you got to wait. You just wait for the third party. That's why that position is so strong. Instead, they tried to, be the first team there, and then they get third party. So timing, being a little bit of an issue here on the side of Enhyper. But, Carrillo getting caught by Influence Rage. This is a big fight.
And it's a very close quarters fight. really just going to be about grenades and shotguns. We see a couple of DBSs in play. Longhorn aggressive, a little bit of a pre-fire out. Doesn't catch the cross back.
They need to win this fight. Full reset here, and they do get the reset. So now it's a 4v3 situation. Influence Rage probably telling Alpha 7, hey, dude, it was just a prank. We can just still chill here. We're in zone. You know, we don't have to fight this. No, but they're going to have to. I mean, this is going to be tough because Influence Rage currently in 4th place. They're right below Death Wolves. And then, you know, Alpha 7 hunting down that championship belt. Oh, that knock on the Milovan. Influence Rage, they need to start getting aggressive.
Oh! They called it. They knew they were hiding in the containers, because why wouldn't you? Now Diego's last one up, forced to run away, hide something out. And there are places to hide, but I imagine Alpha 7 would want to chase.
Let's see. Yeah, and that's what I was saying by Influence Rage. I would have liked to see them just kind of make that. This is exactly what I said at the top of the show, right, Cameron? Is Influence Rage when the going is tough and the decision's hard, they don't have that commitment to just full risk their entire team. You know, it was a 3v3 situation. They had to just full commit push. Yeah, the play's not obvious. You don't have very good openings, but you got to make it. Otherwise, you're going to get taken out. And that's exactly what happened.
And now look at Energy coming in from the opposite side, ready to clean that space up and then be the next team potentially at bat against Alpha 7. We've still got a minute left before the phase closes. Good timing for Energy to cross that river point.
It's tough. It's tough for me to see Influence Rage, you know, hold off on making those decisions because, I mean, they could have had a chance to take out Alpha 7 and had a dominant spot. Could have been a huge game for them. But instead, they're down to one player, regardless of their decision. So let's see right now is Inco Gaming. They noticed that Influence Rage are almost taken out. Could be a big chance for them to possibly pass them up on the leaderboards.
And look at
Fury.
Fury.
A big game, though.
Fury just waiting. They're biding their time. They're going to give some of these elimination points up. They're not going to try and push and get too greedy with them. But now here comes that Hyper.
Here we go. Coming in for the third party, but just a little bit late on the foot. And let's see if Stars is able to get a critical knock here. He's pushing up. Nade in hand, throwing a little early. Oh, and then a Becta in big trouble. Oh, gets caught, actually. That's from Furia. So now Furia is kind of trying to press down the mountain and look for some easy eliminations down here.
And Hyper have to go for the revives while they can. Stars is applying a lot of pressure to make sure that they can commit to those revives. As Inco does go out, Furia getting activated from this spot. And you can see on the map, they're leaving Kioski on the west end to anchor their position. Could get overwhelmed there, but at the moment, doing their job.
Great job from Hyper. Did exactly what they were supposed to do, right? Just catch a third party on the way in, get some easy eliminations, loot, and then just start working your way up. But now they're going to have to start working their way up towards Furia as the zone does crest even further towards Everest. Alpha 7 are going to have to push out into the wide open as well. This is going to be a tough zone shift for a lot of teams. And Hyper, here they go. Going to be pushing it. Yeah, I was about to say, they can't be pushing into the open side of the mountain because that's going to leave them exposed to crates.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they realize it. Furia should back away. Like, this is a point where you kind of want to just let the other team share this spot with you.
To a point. I like Kioski's position, throwing some grenades down on top of the vulnerable Royals of War. Already 5 eliminations for them. All 4 still